everyone. I'm Terry Tompkins, and I'm an assistant professor of music business at Hofstra University. And we are pleased to bring you today my favorite data analytics platform in the music industry, a workshop with Viberate. And I want to introduce David Howe, who is the lead business development developer at Viberate, and he's going to present a workshop, an extended workshop. We had a brief discussion and demonstration yesterday. We're going to get into the details today. So I'm pleased to present David Howe. Hello, David. Welcome.
Hello. I just had to unmute myself. Hello, everyone.
You know that was going to happen, right? You're on mute. Yeah. I need to get that T-shirt.
Yeah. Great to be here with everyone. So today is going to be pretty relaxed. It's going to be detailed. I'm probably going to let out some things, but that's why the Q&A is going to be at the end. If there's anything anyone wants to ask, then at the end, please raise the questions, and we'll also announce a special deal for basically institutions. So can I go ahead and share my screen with you?
By all means, let's do it.
All right. Great. So essentially, Viberate is a data service on top of almost everything that's happening in music. And what's special about Viberate is it's not only covering data from recorded music, but also data from live music. So we're trying to integrate and comprehensively approach so DSP data, streaming services, social media, and so on. And then a whole other part, or the second half of the product, basically covers festivals, events, festival lineups, and basically we aggregate a lot of information from all the artists connected to these entities. Now, in that sense, Viberate gives market participants a chance to understand their performance in the market better than ever before, and is basically tailored for not only for managers, A&R people, publishers, and so on, but also people who conduct a lot of research in music. Marketeers are using it, and so on. So basically, it's a very, very useful service and platform. And basically, this is why different use cases arise from time to time. And that's why we also do these very detailed workshops to kind of investigate different segments of usage. Now, it's not like we're the only company addressing all these things, but what people probably want to know is that we seriously believe we have a unique approach to organizing all that data in music so that we can deliver the most accurate and most user-friendly music analytics for everyone. So one very important thing to know about Viberate, we put a lot of effort into data curation. So basically every piece of information that is displayed on Viberate goes through several steps of curation, manual curation. Not everything is automatic, because some of the things that Viberate interprets can basically be delivered via algorithms or AI, if you will. And we have a large team of people who are working with all the data that we are displaying day in, day out. So this is the most special thing that you should know about Viberate. Now, I'm going to move to the dashboard. So basically, this is the home dashboard of Viberate. I'm just going to quickly walk you through the navigation. So basically, everything evolves around artists and artist profiles. So basically, this is also the first thing you see in there in the navigation, and festivals, labels, listings. The label segment is currently only covered for Beatport related labels, so more electronic music. But we're already working on basically integrating and covering all other genre as we grow with partnerships, as we grow the partnerships with other services, not just Beatport, and also other genres. Then soon we'll be releasing very detailed track level analytics. So basically all the types of information that you'll see later on, we will be releasing the same level of detailed stats for tracks. Not all at the same time, but gradually releasing this track level analytics. Then playlists, which is a very popular and a very, very looked for feature across not only our platform, but also other competitive ones. So this allows you to investigate, research, and get signals from playlists. So basically, there's a lot of different events that happen on playlists, like ads, drops, and stuff like that. We're always improving specifically these features. Then, as I mentioned before, so from the live music segment, we're covering venues, events, and then top level analytics, genre, and countries. So
David,
basically,
let me jump in here for a second, Dave. David, the two things that I'm really excited about with Viberate, one is you're delving into tracks now, right? We're in the song economy and not looking at album formats in the streaming world. So being able to look at all the analytics regarding that song is a really exciting thing. And that's something new that you're launching, correct?
Exactly, correct. So what's very interesting or actually awesome about this is, we were just now attending, in the past 3 weeks, we were attending 2 or 3 conferences, and we've been listening to a lot of keynotes from people high up in the music industry hierarchy, and everyone is basically setting up the song economy. So basically every single song is being approached as a separate company almost, like setting up a business. But not just, it's not just like the a value of bringing in money for it's not purely money driven, but the thing is that that's the attention span, and basically songs have to be launched and then albums come later and so on, and basically everyone starts to embrace this dynamic, because the saturation and the volume of releases is so high that only songs can basically live through this high release frequency.
Absolutely, the attention economy.
Yeah.
There's some case studies on Justin Bieber and Lil Nas X, but that goes all the way down to developing artists, needing to also engage, with the release of singles extended over time.
And this goes, of course, sorry to interrupt, but this goes hand in hand with the whole NFT development,
Sure.
In the crypto space and so on. But basically, everyone from the bottom to the top artists, it's really shifting into the song economy, and this also makes the life cycle of releases a little shorter. But
Absolutely.
basically it allows artists to do more releases, get more exposure, but not using all the songs at the same time, basically.
Absolutely, yes. The other thing that I wanted to mention that I really love about Viberate that you do, that I don't know that anyone else is really doing that's doing well, is we're getting back into touring now, and so post COVID, we're seeing live shows coming back, and the ability, and I know you're going to talk about it, but to analyze the presence of what size venues and what territories someone's touring to, that's very unique to Viberate. It's
very unique, yeah. I mean, it's basically because it's not the main part of Viberate, so it's more, let's say it's more secondary to the recorded stuff, to the recorded music data. But essentially, it's a very good research tool. One thing is you can reflect to the past. Basically, it allows you to investigate relationships between larger artists and developing artists to specific festivals, and then maybe this gives you a feeling of, oh, I might be able to approach this and this festival, even if I thought that maybe at this point of my artist evolution, it's maybe out of reach, but still, these are some signals that you can use, or you can be very pathetic, so to speak, with the research and say, okay, I don't know, I'm trying to set up a tour in region X, and I'm going to help myself to investigate what venues are available there that I don't know of, and stuff like that, and maybe see, oh, this artist is connected there. Maybe I could approach this through their management, or, basically it gives you a lot of information that you can then use creatively. So that's maybe one disclaimer before we move on to other things. Very important thing here is, because there's a lot of confusion sometimes. People do sometimes expect that we give recipes for success, and this is, unfortunately, we would love to, and we're also putting a lot of effort into being smart about what's going to happen or giving advice. But unfortunately, the career management thing is the job of the artist and the management. We're just delivering a lot of information that then has to be used creatively, in a creative way. And the more you get involved and familiar with information in general in the industry, the more your creativity sparks and starts basically reflecting all these events and so on.
Love it. I'll say one last thing, and then I'll let you jump back into the workshop, which is I'm sure there's some educators on the call here today, and they're scared to death of numbers and analytics and, trying to understand what it all means. What I love about Viberate is you don't have to be an analytics person. Viberate tells the story for you. So you just have to be able to work within the platform, and whatever information you want to derive from it is presented to you in a logical framework. You're not working within Excel spreadsheets and being a data analytics person to be able to understand this.
This is true. To some extent, yes. So I'm going to give you a joke here, but we try to provide music analytics for people who hate analytics, to some extent. But this is also one of the reasons why we try to build Viberate in a way that you don't really need additional raw data exports. Yes, of course, some people and some departments require that to then analyze things even better or more in depth with their internal services or tools. But the other aspect is that basically we're really trying to somehow create a narrative with the information, with the numbers that we're getting from all the channels that we're getting them, and after curating them, that we're able to somehow interpret it into a very sensible form and give you actionable insights at first glance.
Yeah, you don't have to be a coder to understand what is happening within the platform. And in our industry, whether it's marketing or A&R, data analytics are an essential. So this is a great starting point for students who may not be math people, for example, but have to understand how the role that analytics play in our industry.
Yeah, basically it's a game of, or it's a behavior of simply reflecting on what's been happening. Let's say, very, very simple example is, a lot of the marketing arms of management agencies and even festival promoters are using Viberate to simply reflect on what kind of or what level of engagement their promotional campaigns have generated. Because it's usually, music has a very beautiful way of, or a very simple way of showing engagement on social media and on streaming channels. And this is always some consequence of your promotional efforts, and it's relatively real time, so you can very, very quickly reflect on what's going on. And this is the most simple way and the most simple step to start analyzing this.
Love it. Well said. All right, let's jump in.
Yeah, great. So basically, what I'm showing here is just so that you have an overall understanding. Viberate is based on artists, genre, and then everything else. Okay, so basically we try to categorize the parent genre. We're not super diversified and sliced in terms of genre. So some, like in hip hop, you would expect even 10 additional subgenre, but we're not doing that because we have to understand the subgenre in terms also from the information of DSPs and so on. And basically, the most important thing is that we can categorize artists and songs then later in the parent genre and so on. And basically, just as an example, we can on the genre level, basically every entity. So entity being genre or artist or venue or anything else that you can find on Viberate is an individual entity, and all these individual entities have designated websites. So basically, everything you open has its own website with some form of analytics. I just opened the techno, the website of the techno genre here, and additionally, I'm opening one here of the dance genre. So nothing specifically. I mean, no specific reason for these two genres, but just those are the first ones. So basically, if you would be doing any research, let me check. Okay, techno genre. What I can get from the information. Oh, looks like Germany is most in favor of this genre. Comparing it to dance, Germany is on the third place. USA is the largest market for dance music. Now, if I would be setting up marketing efforts, campaigns, or try to maybe boost or get in touch with playlists, and if I'm doing this for an artist in the techno genre, maybe the first thing would be, okay, let's investigate Germany. Let's investigate the most prominent cities. If you scroll down, you can see, we always tell you which are the most prominent cities for this particular genre. You could set up a pilot promotion in Berlin, Munich, or Mannheim in this case, and what this tells you is that cross channels, so on social media, so including Facebook, Twitter, streaming, Instagram, and so on, and YouTube, you have a good shot of succeeding or getting some attention or success in this market for this particular genre. And this is one creative way of using this example. Then if I'm just quickly showing here the festivals chart. So in general, we attribute Viberate points. So we generate a synthetic sort of performance metric that is generated from everything that we get into Viberate. And this is called Viberate points. They don't have any special meaning, but the Viberate points help Viberate navigate through all of the noise, So basically, this helps us generate our internal charts, and it helps us organize all of these entities. So from genre, artists, festivals, and so on, and later also songs. And basically, then from these charts, then you can go ahead and filter out, let's say, festivals by genre.
Even while you're in there, we have a question from somebody in the audience about genres and classification. Are you accessing like Spotify's API? How are you aligning with the DSPs when it comes to genre?
Well, there's a bunch of strategies. One is aligning with the public APIs from several channels. And we're also, as I mentioned before, so let's say when the artists are measured based on, the genre are measured based on, the genre are measured based on the input of artists, So basically, artists are contributed to Viberate via links. There is a minimum
profile.
Yes, exactly. There's a minimum threshold of the links that have to be submitted to Viberate in order to, basically show a minimum viable profile for artists and so on. And basically, from all of these sources, then we get a healthy average of the genre, basically.
So that's interesting. So it's like a Spotify API combined with what the artist might present themselves. So you're getting a combination of the two. Good. Okay.
Yes. Thanks. And it's not purely Spotify. So there's a lot of services out there that provide this type of data. But then basically, as I mentioned, all of this then gets put into this big pile of data, and then averaged out so that we get the most accurate data point.
I know, like Spotify was using Last.fm for years, right? Which seemed kind of crazy. I don't know if you remember that. It's like, people didn't even know that it existed. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Does that answer the question?
I think it does. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great, cool. Okay, so basically you can then filter out a festival. I'm just quickly showing this because it's interesting to see what kind of information you can basically get out of this. You can follow every entity, so every festival, every artist, every genre basically, or even country level. You can follow this, and then for the entities that you follow, you get information later delivered into your home feed. Basically here later on, like notifications will arrive about new drops or any very specific events that happened for this particular entity, someone added to the lineup, and so on. Basically, that's very interesting. All right, and then on the festival pages, you can investigate information like lineup, top artist booked in the past, audience, lineup, subgenre distribution. This is also very interesting. Let's say how marketing or how marketing agencies use this to promote festivals is they investigate the genre distribution, then they investigate genre per country, and then distribution per city, and then they know how to target better to reach the audience for maybe the most prominent genre for these festivals. Here is like a historic chart for festival, how the festival morphed genre through time, and so on. And then I'm just going to quickly jump. So this is the labels page, which I mentioned before. So currently it's only represented by Beatport labels, but this is evolving to basically have listed more and more labels, so that basically you will be able to do a lot of research on this level. Then of course this is the playlist page. This allows you to investigate, the most prominent playlists based on playlist followers or the tracks that they have included on the playlist, and so on, and then genre. And this allows you then to, again, if you want to pitch playlists, that helps you finding out who. Unfortunately, we currently still don't deliver information about who the playlist curators are. But this is also one of the things that we are putting our efforts into to deliver in a relatively short period of time from now on, so that you'll be basically able to do research on that level and also reach out then through to curators.
David, these are editorial playlists, not user playlists. I'm seeing Spotify here, correct? Or is it a combination of editorial and user?
Those are both.
Okay.
This is also one distinction that we are working on, to be able to differentiate between editorial and other ones. All right. Okay. So here's another very interesting case, which I presented last week. So Electric Daisy Carnival, which is one of the largest electronic music festivals. It's a very interesting. I wanted to present a case how to choose support lineup. Let's say this is a festival that has booked in the 2008 edition. I'm just going to quickly jump there. They booked, so it's more 10 times 25, over 250 artists. So some of the data specialists in music argue that, the assumption is, in general, traditionally, you don't need this type of information to book the top of the headline artists. But data people say that, why not? Why would you be lazy and then only rely on big names? But basically, this data of this kind can also help you diversify in terms of setting up top of the headline. But then you can use all of this data, like what the festival's audience is, and so on. And if you have in mind ticket sales, so basically the ability to expand in terms of ticket sales, you can use all of this information to investigate which are the artists that can bring in at least the potential to sell additional tickets for a specific genre, All right, then I'm continuing here to the artist charts. The artist charts, so as I mentioned before, the charts are built. The main chart is built based on vibrate points. So it's a synthetic metric, and then based out of this, we can then filter. We can generate artist charts based on Spotify followers, streams, Instagram followers, YouTube subscribers, Facebook followers, TikTok, and so on. And TikTok is becoming increasingly more important, basically week over week. And we're also putting a lot of effort into being very TikTok savvy in terms of interpreting information and so on. This particular segment is very interesting for A&R people, so labels and basically talent hunters, if you will. Very interesting approach here. Let's say also in regards to booking someone for the support act for festivals. So let's say we when we do this kind of research, or so even booking someone for festivals or signing someone new to the label, we of course want to filter out all the big names. So what we would be doing, we want to exclude all the top 5,000 or let's say the top 1,000 artists. Because we still want to see artists with at least a little engagement or early traction. We want to see artists who have at least, let's say, 100,000 Spotify followers. And this is going to give us a completely different chart. Okay. And what we can see now, this is a different chart. Just a second. What we achieved with this, we filtered the artist charts from over 500,000 artists to 637 results, which is relatively manageable. Now we can go even deeper and fine-tune these filters and say, okay, I'm going to set this to 200,000 Spotify followers, and now I reduce the results to even half of that. So now I have 310 results that I can scroll through, and I know that they have some significant traction on Spotify streams and so on. And then I can go into an artist profile. Just a second. Basically, and now I can investigate their stats. Here is the overall career performance chart, of course, early spikes, then it slows down a little bit. And then here you have specific content events that helped, that caused later spikes, and you can play these things directly inside the Viberate dashboard, so you don't have to navigate away from the dashboard. If you want to investigate this, you can investigate total fan base distribution across channels. This segment is also a great tool to be used in marketing efforts, so that you know which channels are the most prominent one to work on to scale the audience and so on. Very important thing here is we are really as I mentioned in the beginning, we are putting a lot of effort into understanding fan base growth and fan base engagement. So everywhere you look, so here in the general analytics tab, in social media and Spotify, we are measuring the fan base growth and the fan base engagement. These are two very important metrics basically across the whole industry and across all channels, and they can tell an interesting story. Let's say when fan base growth, this is the pink side of the chart here. When the fan base growth is uptrending, that's great. But if the fan base growth is in an uptrend, but the engagement is maybe in a downtrend or is not growing simultaneously with the fan base growth, that usually means that something is wrong. And the first signal so the first signal for this is, someone is buying followers or listeners for this particular artist, but not working on engaging. So engagement means fans are viewing the video, they are commenting, they are sharing, and so on. And basically, these are the metrics that A&R people and promoters and bookers are looking the most for. They want to have organic and sticky audiences to make better decisions. Basically, a sticky audience will always bring in tickets, more streams, and everything that goes with scaling the artist's career. Any questions here?
I just want to comment that I think as a starting point, as an educator, the artist profile is really where I would recommend them to begin when they enter the platform, and maybe, identify an artist that they want to dig into or that their students want to learn about, and then go through it and look at all of these markers and get a sense of how it's represented.
I agree. I would basically I would recommend to do the same because it's the most informative and the richest part of Viberate, basically the most essential one. And it's giving you like a very, very good, it's also a very good questionnaire, it's reminding you, oh, this happens, oh, this happens, oh, this is another aspect, and so on. So just a second, I lost the camera here. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm going to switch to the social media stats. So basically, all of the data segments that we are providing. So the first tab that we were looking at is the overall, like the aggregated metrics from all the channels, everything put together and then interpreted. Social media is basically only focused on cross-channel, on all the social media channels that are currently being analyzed by Viberate. So if we look at this, so you can see here for this artist, we have TikTok events, we have Instagram events and Twitter events. And then for every channel, we are doing basically the same type of analysis for audience, to understand the audience metrics, audience and gender distribution, post frequency and stuff like that, so that basically you can then investigate which parts of your either marketing efforts or audience scaling efforts have the most impact. And one very interesting thing. Yeah, sure.
Are we looking at feed and stories or just feed when you're assessing social media?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Is it like an Instagram feed or does it also include the stories? Is it both or one or the other? For now, it's mainly the feed. Okay. But we're also working on integrating stories. Maybe it's too early to say, but just 2 months ago we started discussing that maybe we will even push Viberate to the point where we will be able to deliver story-sized analytics bites, so that basically if you use Viberate, you will get stats delivered in the story formats and highlights. So we understand that the story format is very, very important, even with the growth. Especially with the growth of TikTok, and that's why the whole development is going into that direction. Absolutely. The other thing that's happening, I see trending with social media, even with like feed post, is the archive is not maintained. So if an artist is posting on Instagram they may only keep active their last 10 or 15 or 20 posts. So the last 3 years worth of posts have been deleted. But I would imagine if you're tracking it here, at least that activity would that still be active here? Like, could I see the last 3 years, even though only 10 posts are live, would the last, 2 years of activity still be documented?
You're asking how far into the past you can go?
Yeah.
So, yes, for now we are, so the data is there, but for the sake of, let's say, easier analysis, we display data for up to 12 months back, but we already received a lot of requests to make it available. So for the past 24 months, and we see a trend where basically the more data savvy researchers are, the more of these requests we get, basically. But I believe this is going to also be
2 years
available.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Great. Okay.
Maybe even more, but we'll see. Okay, one thing that I wanted to touch here is if you can see this part that I'm scrolling over.
And let me mention to the viewers that if they can go full screen and in their gears 1080, if they're having any trouble, I don't know, maybe Armin can let me know in the comments if anybody's having trouble seeing. I think everyone could probably see this. So if not, 1080 in the...
I can zoom out or zoom in.
Okay, so I'm hearing it's good so far. So go ahead.
Okay, good. So very important, like one of the very interesting metrics here is we are, as you can see, we are doing cohorts, or brackets, if you will. It's like, so from 0 to 10,000 followers, from 10 to 50,000 followers, because we're trying to understand the neighborhood. It's not like if you compare a star with someone, with a newcomer, of course, it doesn't make any sense. So we're trying to understand, we're trying to analyze everything inside a neighborhood, because once an artist grows, once their audience grows, they change the neighborhood. And then once they change neighborhood, we have to be able to understand what's going on inside there. And from this logic, we are creating averages or trying to understand them. So let's say what this indicator tells you that we are now investigating an artist, and so the artist is in the segment of from 200,000 to 1 million total followers on which we are looking Instagram. Yeah. So the average industry, the average industry monthly follower growth in this segment is around 3.3 thousand, and this artist is performing a little less. The performance is a little under, but this is if we are looking at what the artist achieved already. It's not so bad because there was a huge spike in the beginning and then it somehow faded out, or basically the curve flattened. So let's say if we would be looking at the same average, so in this case, but the artist would be at the very beginning of the career, that would be maybe not concerning, but this would be a metric that you would want to improve. Let's say if you are a management company and you're looking at these things, you would want to say, okay, what can we do? Let's investigate. Is Instagram even the right channel, or is it something with the content? What do we have to change to improve this metric?
David,
but then let's say
I love this feature. It's one of my favorite things about Viberate. Okay. And from an educator's perspective, if you're thinking about like students and they don't have a frame of reference, right? So what are the benchmarks? And so when I go and I look and I'm interested in putting together a marketing plan for an artist, and that I'm integrating into the classroom, or I'm looking at A&R, or I'm managing an artist virtually, which I do in my class, I have them go here and now I give you a reference. What has been their growth over the last year? And how does that compare? And you don't have to go in and look at each artist individually. You're giving those benchmarks right here. Exactly. It clearly indicates. And then if there was a spike, if something went viral, you can see sort of what the traction was. What was that post? Why did that post go viral? Exactly. What was the nature of that content?
Exactly. So of course there is this magic wish, or like everyone is working to recreate this viral or this virality,
Right. Yeah.
Of course, everyone deserves that, but not everyone succeeds at that. But I'm just trying to, why I'm even mentioning this is, not all the success will be caused by this virality. Of course, it usually has the largest spikes, the shortest and the largest spikes. But then you would be surprised. Later, I'm going to show you one very, very interesting example of an electronic artist that is outperforming like crazy, but is totally under the radar, and it's just a matter of time when they get signed. But basically, these indicators are great signals for, again, reflecting what has been done, what can be changed, and or even question if the channels that someone is using to promote are even the right ones, because sometimes, as if you remember the genre analytics that I showed at the beginning, you can always circle this back, see, okay, is the techno genre even good to basically communicate or engage audience on Instagram? And these are the blogs, the data blogs that you can then investigate and put together sensible and even effective marketing approaches. And it's very great to understand this.
Yeah, and just to clarify, your comparison is within artists that are electronic and dance. So these trends, these benchmarks that you've established are related artists. It's not you're comparing it to a rock act or a jazz act or a classical act. It's actually apples to apples here.
Yeah, I mean, it's in general, it's the neighborhood. So of course, if we're looking at the genre, it's not necessary that the neighborhood consists only of genre of the artists of the same genre. There can be, usually not, but we are. That's why I mentioned that we're trying to understand the neighborhood. Because if sometimes there's going to be a completely out of genre battle, between two artists, they're going to climb hard and they will always be somewhere in the neighboring positions,
And you provide these benchmarks for streaming as well as social, which I know you're going to get to. We have about 10 minutes left.
Exactly.
Just to give you a heads up.
Yes. I'm going to be quick here. Okay. So Spotify, here again, I'm going to just quickly open, let's say, just give me a second, please. That's the artist I'm jumping to. So we'll be looking at Spotify analytics for this artist, because this is also super interesting. Sorry for the long loading time. Okay. Can you see the screen here again?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
All's good.
So we're looking at the Spotify tab, and we're looking at followers and monthly listeners through time. This is, again, the same format of the metric that we were investigating before for Instagram, for basically audience engagement. But this is showing us, again, the bracket, the segment where this artist is belonging to in terms of followers. And then, as you can see, this artist is outperforming like crazy. Average industry monthly listeners in this segment is a little over 13,000. And this artist is achieving a little over 250,000 active monthly listeners. This is if an A&R person or anyone in the label who is investigating a newcomer artist sees this is a no-brainer.
I'm gonna make three guesses here. Editorial playlist ads, activity on TikTok, or just consistently putting out releases every 4 weeks. Would
Amazing
be one
question.
of my three. That would be that. Without looking at the data, that would be my assessment.
Yeah. Amazing question, but let's just look at what happened here. I mean, it's a guess, but what could have been happening here? So if you're looking at, because it's an electronic music artist, we're looking at Beatport. And Beatport is also a great source of understanding these types of things. Look at what happened with tracks over time on Beatport. So this artist has been super consistent with putting out releases, and look at the time frame from 2019 to 2022. So tracks released has been close to 30. tracks and charts has been 6. Next year, all tracks released 20, tracks and charts 7. Next year, tracks 10, tracks and charts, almost all of them. And 22, all 3 releases landed on charts. So, of course, there has been definitely a very, very, very consistent engagement throughout social media and playlists. But the most important thing is what happened with the production value, you know, because it's obvious that this artist understands their audience so good, you know, that their production value is growing. You know, the margin of releases versus lands on charts is, you know, as you can see, it's from like less than a third to almost 100%. You know,
the songs are performing well is essentially what you're suggesting.
Exactly, and the more charts they're landing on, the better they're gonna sell. And of course, people are looking also for that kind of signals and data. Okay, I think we have been very thorough.
I have one more thing. One of my other favorite features that I was hoping that you could share, which is comparing 2 artists. The artist comparison.
Of course. Sorry,
there you go. Okay, there you go. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a super neat, simple feature which we actually build with the sole purpose of being visually very appealing. You know, because how on earth are you going to easily compare 2 artists? And basically, you know, all the metrics that I've introduced so far are somehow gathered here, and you can basically also comparing the neighborhood, you know, the neighborhood of artists. Basically, here in this with this feature, you can compare any 2 artists, and you can basically compare their general overview, you know, scores on social media, music channels, network respect, and you can. So why this feature is usually used, or what's the main purpose is usually, so the most prominent use case is promoters when they have when the decision is very tight, you know, between, okay, who should I go with, this one or this one? And those are not stars, but they are artists that are usually in the support lineup, and you know, they are always considering who's gonna sell more, who's gonna be more fresh. Did we book this artist in the past 2 years? Should we go again? Should we change this, and so on? And this feature is usually used to make that kind of decisions, or even A&R people are using it, you know, to compare similarly ranking artists, and then they are investigating their, as mentioned, social media, network respect, you know, fan base size and distribution.
I think this is great, by the way. You know, if you look at the channels here, just scrolling up for a sec, scroll back up for a sec, back up. Yeah. You know, like one artist is heavier on Facebook, you know, another one is heavier on TikTok. So you can actually now go to their platforms and see what they're doing, and that might inform your strategy.
Exactly. And this is also this, you know, I mean, of course, as I said before, using data should be, it has to be creative, you know. And let's say, you know, there's always, even if you're a festival, if you're a label, you always have your own agenda, and you always have the second agenda of the artist that you're either booking or signing, you know. And if you want to grow the label's audience, you know, either on TikTok, of course, what the most sensible thing to do is you're going to go and sign artists for a while that have great exposure to TikTok, you know, and so on. And that's how you are sort of tweaking your also your growth efforts and scaling efforts. Okay, yearly growth across channels, yearly engagement across channels, and so on. Most viewed YouTube video of all time, artist connections. So these are connections on basically across all the social media channels. That
Who's following you, right?
Yes, exactly. And audience.
And then geography, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And fan profile. Cool, great. So let's remind everyone of what Viberate is making available to our institutions as far as the free trial. Can you just tell everyone what?
Yes, of course. Of course. So all the features that you see in commercial terms come with a premium plan that is commercially available to users, potential users, and so on. But for educational institutions, we have an offer going on, so that we are making it available for 1 semester completely for free for all these features. If that's the case, if you would like to have access to this, we don't expect much in return. Mainly, it's user feedback, and maybe sharing experiences, or maybe even sharing with us a wish list of features that might improve your work or understanding of data, and that's what that's the offer that we have on the table for institutions. You can get access to this by just writing an email to david@viberate.com, or anyone else you know who can connect you with us, and it's as simple as that. So basically, you're getting access to all of Viberate's premium features for free for 1 semester.
Great. I love it. Maybe what I would suggest for the educators that are in this meeting now is to send an email to david@viberate.com now to get access to premium, so that they can fool around with it this summer, so that in the fall, if you're thinking about integrated into the classroom, then you can add your students to the premium subscription list.
Yeah.
And, I would say that I'm using Viberate in the classroom, and I use it for a management class. I use it for a marketing class that I teach. So if anyone has questions about integrating it into the classroom, I'm happy to share how I'm doing that. And I will say that the students are really getting something out of this. And, as far as preparation for the real world, entering into the job market, understanding data analytics and these platforms are an essential. It becomes sort of a prereq for students who are entering the industry. It's not enough to say, hey, I post on social media, I know Instagram. It's I understand the analytics behind a successful campaign and building out a content management strategy, and be able to understand the effectiveness of assessing that campaign.
That's true. Maybe just one last thing that I would like to add here, so that you don't get scared away by the whole amount of data here. We're also executing, like training sessions, webinars that basically are not like this one here, but very, very detailed, like training sessions with specific with investigating use cases, questions, real-time questions, and so on. So basically, if there is a need for a group consultation or a case study, like a fireside chat, please let us know. We can always organize that, to help you get even more familiar with the whole ecosystem and the ways you can use and understand this data. Please reach out.
Yeah, I've had Vasa do that in my classroom, and I'm good friends with Nick Gilbert, who I know is your person on the ground here in the States. So all awesome people. David, thank you so much for supporting.
It's been a pleasure.
The organization and taking time to chat about the platform. We love it.
Anytime.
All right, everyone, we're going to wrap up this session. Again, david@viberate.com if you're interested in adding yourself as premium access to Viberate, and we'll be continuing with the membership Q&A in about 10 minutes. Thanks again, David. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Cheers.